Okay. All right. So for today's class, mostly the discussion is going to be on phrasal verbs and phrases and idioms, right? So in phrases and idioms, we're going to discuss quite a lot of them actually. Of course, we are not intending to fit every possible phrase and idiom in this particular session, but we are going to be discussing mostly on the more commonly used ones, or something that I think would be a little helpful, right? We can, but begin by our discussion on phrasal verbs. Phrases and idioms would follow a little later. The first thing that we would discuss is on the phrasal verbs, right? So one exercise on that, and then maybe we can get on to phrases and idioms. Okay. So, you might have already heard the lecture on phrasal verbs and you might already know something on that. But can we quickly brief on what these phrasal verbs are? How do they behave? Are they verbs or are they something else? What's your understanding of it? How are they used in a sentence? Are they used as phrasal verbs? Are they used as verbs or are they used as something else in a sentence? How do they behave? What is their nature? You can take any example that you see on the screen or the one that you're familiar with. Like I think in the lecture you have an example which is come across, right? Which is also there on the um, list in the screen here. So come across, when you use it in a sentence, how do you use it as a verb or does it act as something else? It's certainly a verb, right? Which is why the name phrasal verb. Now, it is a little different from your usual verbs because what are the general examples for verb? Like kill or dance or sing or eat, any. It could be anyone or anything, right? Now, how is it different from, if you look at structurally, how is it different from your regular verb? The only difference is that your regular verb would come as a singular word, right? It could be a single word. Whereas in this case, you have a phrase which acts like a verb, right? It's not a single word, but instead of a single word, you have a phrase which acts like a verb, right? That's all. When it comes to understanding what um, phrasal verbs mean, this is all that you need to know, right? In terms of its structure. Okay. You cannot see the screen. I think it should be visible now. Okay. But how do you use phrasal verbs? Like if you have heard the lecture, you have two categories of phrasal verbs. What are those categories? I think this question has come up sometimes during the doubt clearance session as well. And it's also part of your, you may have already had these questions in the quiz as well. What is it only for me or can you see the screen clearly because it blanks out? Can you confirm if the screen is visible to you? Yes, no? Yes, huh? Okay, all right. Because on my system, as in my phone, it doesn't show anything. Okay, as long as you can see, it should be okay. All right. So within the phrasal verbs, you have two categories, right? And what are those categories? Two types of them, basically, right? One separable and one inseparable. Have you already seen this? Have you watched or have you heard about this in the lecture? Right? You have a separable section and you have an inseparable section, right? So what's the difference between both? What is a separable phrasal verb and what is an inseparable phrasal verb? Yeah, yes, you can speak up, Sachindra. You cannot unmute yourself? Yeah, okay. Speak up. I am unable to hear you. Is that a problem for others as well? The screen has been. Is it visible now? Yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah, Sachindra, what did you want to say? If you're unable to speak, maybe you can leave it in the chat box. No problem. If it was a question. Okay. You were not audible to me. I don't know about others. Right. So separable and inseparable phrasal verb would be? What do you understand of them? See, the idea is very simple, right? So phrasal verbs basically, like the examples that you see on the screen, it could be anything, right? Fill in, bring up, look into, pick up, come across, get over. And there are many more than the ones that you see on screen, right? So one thing that you should keep in mind, yeah, come across is non-separable, that's right, or inseparable, as you find it okay to say. So one thing of the phrasal verbs is they are more commonly found in our conversational language than in any other forms, right? So in written English, by which I mean when you're writing in English, right? In formal communications, usually the advice is to stay away from phrasal verbs, right? Using too much of phrasal verbs in your writing or written communication would be considered not a good practice, right? So where are then they used, right? They are mostly used or they're more abundantly used in your conversational English. So much so that if someone is unable to use phrasal verbs properly in the speech, then it may be considered that the person isn't fluent enough in the language, right? Or in other words, using phrasal verbs properly and more commonly in your speech would say that the person is a good speaker, right? In good speaker, by good speaker, we mean a fluent speaker, somebody who is able to use language easily, right? So this is the importance of phrasal verb. Why is it important? Why is there a lecture on that? It is to ensure that the fluency aspect of your language is taken care of. And there are many such elements, like modal verbs are one such element, which we already looked at in the last class. Phrasal verbs are another such segment in the English language communication, which adds to the fluency of the speaker, right? Which adds to the proficiency and fluency of the speaker, right? So that is about phrasal verbs. And like we were discussing, it's not just like your common verb, but it's a phrase, right? A phrase that is used as a verb. And what consists of a phrasal verb? Definitely, because it's a verb, one part of it is going to be verb. And another part of it is what we refer to as adverbial particle. Now, it's called an adverbial particle because there are many kinds of adverbial particles. In this case, the adverbial particle we are going to use is preposition. Why are we talking about, why do we consider preposition as an adverbial particle? There are other segments, we are not discussing that. But the answer to this question will come from what you understand about adverbs, right? A lot of the time people get confused. So if it is an adverbial particle, then why are we not considering as an adverb? Why do we call it as a phrasal verb, right? Adverbial particles are different from adverbs, right? Adverbs are the words that we already know, right? They talk about manner, manner, place, time, reason, purpose. The words that give you info about any of those things are called adverbs. And any words that can communicate to you about the time, place, frequency, reason, purpose, manner, they all would be classified as adverbial particles, right? Even when they do not qualify as adverbs in the traditional sense, if they can give you information about the time, place, the manner, the reason, purpose, so on and so forth, which an adverb usually does, then they are considered as adverbial particles, right? So adverbial particles can be a single word. Adverbial particles can be sometimes, a clause. Adverbial particle can be sometimes a phrase, right? So you will learn more about adverbial clauses in your next English, like in the next semester. you will have more about adverbial clauses or how do adverbial particles act when used as clauses. You'll have more class on that in the English 2 course, right? But remember, for the time being, adverbial particles are the ones which act like adverbs, which gives you information that an adverb usually gives in a sentence. Okay. So that's all about adverbial particle. And in this case, what is an adverbial particle used? In the phrasal verb, the adverbial particle usually used as a preposition, right? Look at that. Fill in, bring up, look into, all of those words, right? In, into, across, up, over, forward. All of them are what? In the traditional sense of our understanding, we know all of them are prepositions. Right? So this is the particle that's used as an adverbial particle in the phrasal verb complex. This is all you need to know about the structure of a phrasal verb. One part of it is a verb, another part of it is an adverbial particle, which is in this case a preposition. In the case of phrasal verb, it's going to be a preposition, right? So basically you can also say, in other words, that phrasal verbs usually are combinations of a verb and a preposition, right? But they act like verb, right? It does not have prepositional qualities. It functions like a verb in the sentence. Okay. And two categories to it. One is the separable phrasal verb. Another one is the inseparable phrasal verb. You call something a separable phrasal verb, like, Sachindra has given us an example, come across. He says this is an example of an inseparable phrasal verb. Now, why do we say it's an inseparable phrasal verb? The clue is in the word inseparable itself, right? So we know phrasal verb is formed by at least two particles. One of it is a verb and the other is an adverbial particle, right? Two segments. Now, if you can use any other segment, any other word, any other particle in between the verb and the preposition here, then we call that kind of phrasal verbs as separable, right? And in the cases where you cannot put anything between them, right? Any other segment between them, we call them, what do we call them? We call them inseparable, right? Now, what goes in between both of them are already decided. What can go in between the verb and the particle? It can either be a pronoun, a personal pronoun, or it can be a noun. So for example, say I give you the example of a phrasal verb, which is fall off. Call off. It's in your chat. You can look at it. So is call off an example of a separable phrasal verb or inseparable phrasal verb? What do you think? Call off means to cancel something, right? The meaning is cancel. Can I say call the meeting off? Yeah, it is an example of a separable phrasal verb. So can I say call the meeting off? The manager called the meeting off. Call the meeting off. The manager called the meeting off. Right, I can say. So if I can write it like this, that is basically split open call off and add the noun, the meeting in between call and off, then this is an example of a separable phrasal verb, right? So instead of the meeting, I can also say call it off, right? So say I had two sentences, right? The meeting is postponed, or the meeting would happen on a different date. Today's meeting, or today the meeting is called off, right? Today the manager called it off, right? So which means I can either use a noun in between the verb and the adverbial particle. I can also use another personal pronoun in between the verb and the adverbial particle, right? So these are the two segments that are allowed to interfere between the verb and the adverbial particle. So either a noun or a personal pronoun, right? So if this is possible, if something can be put in between the verb and the adverbial particle, then you call it a separable phrasal verb. But look at an example like come across, which we already looked at, right? This has been mentioned in the chat box by one of our friends, right? Come across. Now, come across is an example of inseparable phrasal verb. Why? Can I say So I can say, I saw a or let's say, I came across a sweet vendor on the way. Right? You can look for the example in the chat box. I came across a sweet vendor on the way. Right? This is my sentence. Now, can I use anything to interfere in between come and across? Can I say I came a sweet vendor across on the way? Like we did with the previous case, right? We said call it off or call the meeting off. The meeting was called off or the manager called the meeting off, right? So we're able to use the word and use the noun and or the personal pronoun and separate out the verb and the adverbial particle. But can we do the same thing with come across? I can certainly say I came across a sweet vendor on the way. Can I say I came a sweet vendor across on the way?
No.
No, right? So this is not possible. So in cases where you cannot separate the two particles from the complex given, you call it an inseparable phrasal verb, right? Now, most of the phrasal verbs that we use, most of the phrasal verbs that are in use in the English language, they are separable in nature. Okay. Majority of them can be interrupted using a noun or a personal pronoun. It is not a problem. But there are few of them, okay, one of which is come across, which will not follow this particular. They won't allow for any interruption. Yes, Prithvi, any question?
Yes, ma'am. In the sentence, I came across a sweet vendor. Can we say it as I met a sweet vendor?
But that is a simple verb. No, it is not a phrasal verb. You can replace phrasal verb with another verb. That is not a problem.
Okay,
But
ma'am.
when you're using it as a phrasal verb, you cannot use anything in between come and across because
Okay,
this is an inseparable phrasal verb. That's all.
okay.
Okay. Right. So come across is one example. There are many more examples, but limited number of examples for inseparable ones. So the good thing is that you can definitely have a list of them. Okay. Some of them, I think around 15 of them we have already discussed in the lecture slide, right? You can find it there. There could be a few more plus 5-ish or 6-ish, not more than that. So the number of inseparable phrasal verbs in English is very less, right? And that is a good news because you don't have to, otherwise you'll have to sit and by heart all of them, right? So that doesn't, it's not a problem. Very few of them which can be used as inseparable ones. Most or majority of the phrasal verb complexes we have in English are all separable, which means you can either use a noun or a personal pronoun and split it open, like you saw in the case of call off, right? So structurally, this is the only thing that you need to know about the phrasal verb. Rest, the grammar of it is very similar to that of a verb, right? Which means what? The phrasal verbs will also get inflected for change of tenses. It will also get inflected for change of numbers, right? So look at this one, or does it? Let's see. Look at the sentence, I came across a sweet vendor on the way. What is the tense in the sentence? I came across a sweet vendor on the way. What is the tense of that sentence?
Past tense,
Present,
ma'am.
future, past tense, right? It's past tense. So if you have to express the action in past tense, then you definitely can inflect or you can bring about changes to the form of the phrasal verb, right? Like you would do for any regular verb. So phrasal verbs also will show you tense, and definitely needless to mention, the change in the tense form is always reflected on the verb, right? Of course, preposition cannot change. That is a close category word. It cannot show you tense. So in the verbal complex, you will bring about changes in the verb part of the complex in order to show a change in the tense, whether past, present, or future. Okay. Another question. Can phrasal verbs change according to the number of the subject? Number or person of the subject? by which I am asking you, does the
No.
subject verb agreement principle apply to phrasal verbs? So I came across a sweet vendor on the way, right? So let me change the number and person. Let's say they, right? They come across the vegetable, we'll use a different sentence, vegetable seller every day as they visit the temple. Okay, for example, if this is your sentence, right? They come across the vegetable seller every day as they visit the temple, right? If I change the subject to I or he or she, will there be any change in this? They come across the vegetable seller every day as they visit the temple. Will it change for I? Will there be any change in come across if I change the subject to I? No? Do you not follow my question? We are talking about the subject verb agreement at this point, right? We're checking if the phrasal verb works similar to verb in other forms as well. We know that it can show tense. It definitely changes to show the change in the tense. No change for I. Okay, so the in case of I, it doesn't change. Does it change in the case of he or she for that matter? I is basically what it's first person and he and she is third person, right? Yeah, tell me.
Could you please repeat the question once again? I didn't get properly.
The question is, will the verb come across change its form when you change the person or the number of the subject? That is, if you change the subject to plural form or first, second, third person, will it affect the way the verb is used in the sentence? We're talking about subject verb agreement.
Yes, ma'am.
It will? Yes. So in case of he, what happens then? Would you still write he come across the vegetable seller or she come across the vegetable seller? Or will it change to he comes across?
Yes, ma'am.
It will change to comes across, right? So which means the phrasal verb again, it changes according to the number and the person of the subject. So whether depending on whether your subject is plural or singular, whether your subject is first person, second person, third person, it is also going to change its form, very much like your other verbs. Okay, so in this case, again, grammatically, your phrasal verb behaves very much like your usual verbs, right? It changes, it shows the change in the tense, it shows the change in the number and the person of your subject as well, right? Sorry, number and person of the subject. Yes, correct. Okay, so subject verb agreement also is followed by the phrasal verb. Tense is also reflected on the phrasal verb, right? So this is all about the structure and the grammar of phrasal verb. All that you need to know about them is that, and in terms of its use, you know, the speciality about them is that they can be separable and inseparable. And we discussed already that, right? Two examples we've already discussed for that. Okay, this is all. It's a very simple topic, a very small topic, yet it's a very important one in the communication, as far as the communication part of the English language is concerned, right? They're used very abundantly in your speech, which is why you'll have to get into the habit of using a lot of phrasal verb, knowing them, how to use them, and their meanings are going to be very important. Okay, talking about the meanings, this is one last thing about the phrasal verbs before we discuss the questions. How about the meanings? For example, let's take the ones that we were discussing, right? Call off, right? Look at this phrasal verb. What is the meaning of call off? I've told you. What is the meaning? Call off something would mean? Why has this?
Ma'am, some event is not going to happen.
Some event is not going to happen, or yeah, cancel. Correct, right? Call off means to cancel something, right? That is the meaning. Now, where did you get this meaning from? Does the word call have anything to do with cancel? No. Does the word off has got anything to do with the word meaning cancel?
Yes,
No.
ma'am.
Right? So neither the word call nor the word off is contributing towards the meaning of the phrasal verb, right? You have a very different meaning for the phrasal verb than the combinations of these words. So neither of the words in the combination are contributing towards any meaning. Neither does it have meanings of the individual words that are used in the combination. Cancel doesn't have got anything to do either with call or with off. You have a very different meaning than the existing individual words that have combined to form the phrasal verb. Now, this kind of meaning making is called as idiomatic, or in some texts, you will also see the word figurative, right? But I would prefer with idiomatic word. Idiomatic meaning. So phrasal verbs have what? They have idiomatic meanings. Idiomatic basically means non-literal, right? Non-literal. And what do we mean by non-literal? That neither of the word that is a part of the combination in the phrasal verb would be a contributing factor to the actual meaning of the phrasal verb. Neither call nor off has got nothing to do with the word meaning of the phrasal verb call off, which means to cancel, right? So when you have a situation like this, you call that the particular segment is giving you an idiomatic meaning, right? Not a literal meaning, but an idiomatic meaning. And most of the phrasal verbs do follow this pattern. Most of them have idiomatic meaning, which is why also they are so important in the speech, right? In conversations, they add more flavor to your conversations because of this exact nature, that their meanings are more idiomatic. They're not literal meanings, which is why it can make your conversations or your speech look beautiful as well, impressive as well, right? So this does the same, has the same effect on your speech that figures of speech would have in your writing, right? You know figures of speech, right? Those similes, metaphors, personification. You will have a lecture on that in your next um, course in English, English 2. You'll begin with that. So those are things that you usually use in writing. Okay, we can use it in speech as well. They're mostly seen in writing, right? So phrasal verbs in your conversation have the same effect that a figure of speech can have in writing. Okay, so this is also one aspect of it, right? Meanings are mostly idiomatic. There are some phrasal verb which may give you an extended meaning of the existing one. Like for example, let me see if we have one on screen. Uh, uh, okay, say something like not look after that. Yeah, pick up, right? Look at an example like pick up. What's the meaning of the phrasal verb pick up? What do we mean by pick up? So let's take two examples. Collect. Okay. So, okay, one is pick up. So in the, um, based on the meaning you give me collect, a sentence would be pick up the papers from the floor, pick up the bits of paper from the floor. So in that sense, it means remove or collect, right? Another meaning, this particular phrasal verb will have multiple meanings. So one meaning is collect or to remove or something. Collect is one meaning, remove is one meaning. Any other? You have picked up some skills in driving. Now, what is the meaning here if this is a sentence? You have picked up some skills in driving. Learn, right? Learn. So this also has a meaning which says learn. So you have grab, learn, collect, remove, right? So in this case, you have another meaning added, right? Any other meaning for pickup?
Get on, ma'am.
Sorry, what is it?
Get on.
Get on. Oh, in that sense, yeah, I'll pick you up from home. Yes, but that is also closer to collect, right? Yeah, mostly that. But does it also have a literal meaning? Like I tell you, pick up the paper, right? Does it have a literal meaning? When I say pick it up or pick the papers up, does it have a literal meaning as well? More than learn or collect or anything? It has a literal meaning as well, right? Yeah. So this is one example of a phrasal verb which we consider that has an extended meaning. So like unlike in the case of call off or for example other things that you have on the screen like look after, turn into, look forward, right? This particular phrasal verbs or the phrasal verbs of this kind, while they have idiomatic meanings like the one we discussed, learn and collect and remove and all that, it can also have a literal meaning, right? In the case of pick up, like the last sentence we discussed, pick up the paper is also a literal usage of the phrasal verb pick up, right? So some of the phrasal verbs may have both literal as well as idiomatic meanings. And a lot, many of them only have idiomatic meanings like the call of example, right? So extended meaning basically is when it also has a literal meaning. Both idiomatic and a literal meaning would be available for the phrasal verb. Okay, so the context will decide what are we talking. So if I'm using pick up in the context of somebody picking up some skills, getting on some skills, then I'm referring to learnability, right? Somebody has learned something, right? If I'm using it in the context like pick it up or pick up the papers or pick up the bits of paper on the floor, I'm using it in the literal sense. So based on my context, you can understand whether the usage has been literal or idiomatic. Okay, so this is another aspect of the phrasal verbs. Okay, right. So that's about the structure, grammar, and meaning and use of the phrasal verb. We'll do one thing, we'll get to the questions now and we'll try and solve these questions. In case we aren't able to finish, we'll take up the phrases and idioms. Some of it we'll discuss today in the class that we have today. And if we are not done with it, maybe we can continue in the next class as well. But let's start with the first exercise here. I think I will paste these in your chat box for the ease of working on them, because once I'm scrolling the sheet, it would be difficult for you to get back there. So I'll just paste it here so you can choose the answers from the chat box when I'm scrolling across the questions. Okay, so the first one here, I will pass the form to you. Please, what will you choose from among the phrasal verbs you have here? Yeah. Please, I will pass the form to you, please. Yeah, okay, somebody says fill in, someone says look forward. Now, some of it might look like they, some blanks may look like, they have multiple answers, but we are going to choose only the most appropriate ones here. The ones that give the best of the meanings. Please, I will pass the form to you. Please pick up. If you're passing already, then there is no aspect of picking up there, right? So yeah, the better suited answer in this case would be fill in. I will pass the form to you. Please fill in, right? You fill in the forms, right? That is the more suitable response here. The responses that you have given, definitely they are more suitable elsewhere. We'll see what those questions, what those sentences are. Here it is fill in. Okay. Now, my question is this a separable or an inseparable phrasal verb? Fill in. Can we use anything to interfere in between fill and in? Like we did for call off. I will pass the form to you. Please. You think it's non-separable? Can I not say please fill it in?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I say, yeah, I'm asking you if we can do that or not.
Yes, ma'am.
We can? Okay. Anybody who thinks we cannot? Any counter examples for this? So if I have, say, a phrase like fill in the blanks, right? This is very commonly used thing. Fill in the blanks. Can I say fill the blanks in? You may
Fill in
please
the,
fill the blanks in. Huh? Sorry.
ma'am, the phrasal verb is fill in the blanks, ma'am.
Sorry, come again.
Which is the phrasal verb, ma'am? In this case, is it fill in the blanks or?
No, 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 no. Fill in the blanks is not a phrasal verb. Phrasal verb will only have a verb and a preposition in its complex, right? So fill in is your phrasal verb. Fill in the blanks is a phrase that you use. I'm asking you, instead of fill in the blanks, can I say fill the blanks in? By which I'm asking you the question if it is separable or non-separable. The answer is yes, right? This is a separable phrasal verb. I can say fill it in, or fill the form in, or fill the blanks in. So fill in is an example of separable phrasal verb, right? Okay, let's look at the next question. You really need to dash this rejection. So when you're looking at these phrasal verbs, don't just look at them in isolation. Please also look at how and what follows after them, right? Like this is a very good example. Dash this rejection. What would you choose from your blank? Sorry, from the brackets that you have here? No? No answer? Nobody knows? Have you heard this? Not turn down. Have you heard this phrase, get over the rejection, right? You need to get over something, right? Yeah,
Yes,
when
ma'am.
you get over something, this something can be a rejection, something can be a failure at something, right? So the phrase is get over this rejection, right? Get over this rejection. You really need to get over this rejection. Now, what's the meaning of get over?
Forgetting something or moving on, ma'am.
Forgetting something or moving on, right? You say you need to move on. It means you have to get over it. So move on is usually a similar phrasal verb, but it is usually used um, in the circumstance where you're talking about a person, right? So when people are involved, you say move on, right? And when it is about a thing, then usually what you use is get over. Get over something, move on from someone, right? That's how usually you use it, right? So get over, yeah. But again, the meaning of get over is forget something, right? Or recover from something, right? Get better, get out of something. That is what get over means, okay? All right, get over this rejection. So anything that comes with that kind of a meaning, you can use get over with it. Third one. Okay, get over again. Is it separable or inseparable? Can I say you really need to get this rejection over?
Ma'am, then the purpose of the phrasal verb is not more same, ma'am.
Sorry?
If we convert get over to get
Huh.
the rejection over, the role
Huh.
of the phrasal verb will be diminished or the phrasal verb will not exist.
Yeah, nothing of that. See, there is no, when it comes to the separability and inseparability factor, the answer lies more in use, right? So there is no reason why it should not happen grammatically. Like if I can say fill it in, then why should I not say, why should it be wrong to say get this rejection over or get the rejection over? So grammatically, this is not a problem, right? Grammar doesn't stop it from behaving that way. It is the use, right? It's the use and convention that is preventing you. So what becomes separable and inseparable is more a factor of your use of the language rather than the grammar. Fill it in is okay, but in the case of certain certain phrasal verbs, by convention people don't separate it, or they think rather that okay, this can affect the meaning, so they don't use it. But grammatically, they may be possible. Grammar doesn't prevent it. The use of the language in the society is what is making this particular usage a bad usage. Okay, bad usage mostly has got to do most of the times with the use of the language in the society rather than the grammar itself, right? Because grammar is a rule. It's like mathematics, you apply it. But how you actually use it also comes from the societal influence, right? So language has both that aspect. Like we talk about the politeness factor. So can I come in is a right statement. It's grammatically right, but it may not be acceptable, right? You might have to say, could I come in? Okay, could I join you? That all is a dictate from the way the society functions. So it's more about that than the grammar. Same is the case for phrasal verb. So get over this rejection is how it has to be. It does not get this rejection over, right? More frequently, this is what the society or the language of the people who prominently use English, it looks more like this, where they don't separate out the phrasal verb get over. Okay. Right. Third one, we will dash the matter in tomorrow's meeting. We will dash the matter in tomorrow's meeting. So phrasal verb, which is similar to the word discuss.
Look after.
Look after is not right. But look is there in this answer.
Look forward.
Not look forward. Look into, right? Look into. Yes, right. Someone has answered already. Manoj and Naman and Arunodaya. Yes, look into, right? This is an equivalent for the word discuss or take, right? We will look into the matter in tomorrow's meeting. Can I say we will look the matter into? We will look the matter into? No, right? So this is again an example of an inseparable phrasal verb, right? Get over was one example. Look into is another example. You cannot break it open, right? We will look into the matter, not we will look the matter into, right? Fourth one. Yes, inseparable, correct. Fourth one, I dash a giant cheetah hidden in the bushes on my way back. I dash a giant cheetah hidden in the bushes on my way back. Came across, correct, right? Came across is the one here. I came across a giant cheetah hidden in the bushes on my way back. We already discussed this is an inseparable phrasal verb. But we changed the tense of the phrasal verb come across to came because of the word hidden. Okay, it gives you the hint that the sentence is in past tense. So you need to change come to came here. Okay. Fifth one, I dash to meeting with you soon. This is a very common sentence that you use as a complimentary clause in emails. Yes, look forward, right? I look forward to meeting with you soon. How about this phrase? This particular phrasal verb is this used in the inseparable format? Can I say I look to meeting forward with you soon? Or I look forward to meet you, right? To meeting with you. I look to meeting with you forward soon. Can I say that? No, right? So again, this one is an inseparable phrasal verb. I look forward, right? Look forward, what is the meaning? Does it have idiomatic meaning? Does it have literal meaning?
Literal meaning, ma'am.
Look forward.
Ma'am, I cannot understand the idiom meaning and literal meaning.
So look at it. What is the meaning of the sentence? When I say I look forward to meeting with you soon, what is the meaning here?
I am expecting a person to meet in a
Huh.
soon
Huh.
time, ma'am.
Right. You expect to meet with them, or more than expect, you're telling them that this meeting will certainly happen. Right. Not just an expectation, but it's an indication of something to happen. Look forward basically is an action phrase. Like you're basically saying that, yes, this will happen. And if you look at the individual meanings of the word look and forward, is it anything close to that? Look and forward. They have separate meanings, right? And it is nothing close to what the meaning of the sentence is. So this doesn't have any literal meaning. This one has an idiomatic meaning. I look forward to meeting with you. It's used so often that it looks like something that has a literal meaning, but it has an idiomatic meaning. Check the meaning of look and check the meaning of forward. They have very different meanings, right? The meaning is different than the one actually the phrasal verb look forward is generating. Yes, no? Okay, right. So the next question, sixth one. Now, this one I think we had already discussed, but let's look at this one. You'll know the answer for this. The engagement was dashed due to reasons not known to us. What's the answer for this? The engagement was called off. Correct, right? The engagement was called off due to reasons not known to us, as in it was cancelled, right? Called off because was, so past tense, definitely you'll have to use it in the past form of the tense, which is called and off, right? Seventh one, what I thought would be the most memorable moment has dash a nightmare. What I thought would be the most memorable moment has dash a nightmare.
Turn down.
Turned down. No, not turned down. But turn is there. Yes, yeah. Someone has answered it already. Turned into. Right? Turned into. Right? Now, what about, yes, correct, Naman. Turned into. So, what about this? Does it have a literal meaning or does it have an idiomatic meaning? Turned into a nightmare.
Literal meaning, ma'am.
How? What's the meaning of the word turn?
Turned means some sort of um, change in the path
So,
or
if
change.
changing the literal meaning of the word turn means what? Literal meaning?
Changing a situation or
No,
um,
no. Changing is not the literal meaning of turn, right? What is the literal meaning of turn? I know the meaning changing is the meaning of change is attributed to the word turn. But turn, the literal meaning is not that, right? What is turn when used as a verb?
changing to another path.
To move, right? It's a verb that you use to indicate movement, right? Turn. Like you turn in the right? When you're driving, you turn in the right direction, you turn in the left direction, right? That's a movement, right? But that has that meaning got to do anything with turn into here? No, right? So the meaning of change for the word turn is more figurative or more idiomatic in nature. So again, this phrasal verb is giving you idiomatic meaning. Turn into. Into anyway doesn't have much of it's a preposition of direction or place, right? So that definitely cannot contribute more towards the meaning. So turned into, in that sense, is an idiomatic meaning generator than a literal one. Turned into a nightmare. Okay, turned into something, turned into someone. All of that gives you that sort of meaning. Okay. In phrasal verb, the meaning is change. You're right. But literal meaning is not that. Okay. Fine. Next one, eighth one. She should have thought well before dash the offer dash. She should have thought well before dash the offer dash. So you are left with bring up, pick up, reach out, turn down, and look after.
Ma'am, could you please repeat what are all the available phrases, ma'am?
It's already there in your chat now.
Okay, ma'am. I'll
You
check
can
it,
pick
ma'am.
it up from there. I think bring up has not come, pick up has not come, then reach out has not come, turn down and look after has not come. Turn down, yes, correct, right? Turn down. And how are you going to turning the offer down? Correct. She should have thought well before turning the offer down. Now, this is an example of separable or inseparable phrasal verb. Is it separable or inseparable? Separable, right? So we have already used a noun to interfere in between the verbal complex, right? Turning the offer down, right? So this is again an example of separable phrasal verb, right? Turn down means what? Meaning is to reject or to decline, right? You decline an offer or you reject an offer. The phrasal verb you use is turn down, right? Eight is what? Yeah, eight is the one which we just discussed, no? What do you want to know? Turning the offer down. This is a separable phrasal verb. Turn down is the phrasal verb that we have used here. And the meaning is to reject or decline, right? And why we use ing? Because it needs to reflect the aspectual form when you use in a sentence. Because it's a verb, it can take it, right? Okay. Ninth one, Amy's school closes by 2 p.m. Could you please dash her dash by then? Could you please dash her dash by then? Easy, this one is. Answer would be
Reach out, ma'am.
look at it carefully. Closes
Could
by 2 p.m. Could you please dash her dash
you reach
by?
her out by
No,
then?
not reach her out. The answer is pick up, right? School closes by 2 p.m. You're asking the person to pick up, right? Correct. So could you please pick her up by then, right? Pick her up by then. Here the meaning is closer to what you said, collect, right? So could you please pick her up by then? It's a very common usage of the phrasal verb pick up, right? Next, 10th one. So this is then an example of what? This is separable. Pick her up, right? You've used a personal pronoun in between the verb and the preposition. 10th one. The puppy looks very sick. Please dash him well. The puppy looks very sick. Yes, correct, right? What's the answer? Look after. Look after is a phrasal verb, and is it separable or inseparable? Can I say, please look him after well? Yes, look after is the right answer. Can I say, please look him after well? Yeah, we cannot, right? So it's an inseparable phrasal verb. Correct. What is the meaning of look after? Look after something, look after your plants, look after, yeah, care for someone, right? To care for someone is the meaning of look after. If you analyze the phrasal verb, you know that again it has an idiomatic meaning because neither the word look or nor the word after has anything to do with the word care, right? Look and after. Now, this might sound familiar to you because it's a very frequently and commonly used phrasal verb, right? So you feel like, no, I actually understand. So when you understand the meaning already, it just means that you're familiar. But you analyze it closer, you know that actually the meaning of the phrasal verb look after is idiomatic. It's not literal, right? Because it has no flavor of either the meaning of the word look or the meaning of the word after in the complex, right? Okay, 11th one, don't dash this dash before mother. You know that she doesn't like discussing such things. Don't dash this dash before mother. You know that she doesn't like discussing such things. Only two are left, I think. Bring up and one more. Reach out. Yes. Answer is bring up. Yes, correct. Right. Don't bring this up before mother. You know that she doesn't like discussing such things. So bring this up because there's an interfering element between both. You have this as a separable phrasal verb. Bring up is a separable phrasal verb. And does it have an idiomatic or literal meaning? It has idiomatic again, right? Bring and up, right? Both of them have their own separate meanings, but none of that is contributing towards the meaning of the phrasal verb bring up, right? What is bring up? To talk about something or to present something, right? That is bring up. Okay. Now, the last one here. I am not available for the weekend, but feel free to dash to me anytime during the weekdays. There's only one left, right? And the answer is reach out, right? But feel free to reach out to me in any time during the to me anytime during the weekdays. Now, how about this particular phrasal verb? Can we use it in the separable format?
Now, please repeat the sentence question.
The sentence. Aren't you able to see the screen? The last one, 12th one. I'm not available for the weekend, but feel free to reach out to me anytime during the weekdays.
Okay, ma'am.
So reach out. Can I use it? Can I use anything to interfere? The complex reach and out.
Reach me out.
Reach me out. Yeah, that's my question. Can I use it as a separable one? You
Yes,
can
ma'am.
reach me out. You can reach them out because these are very commonly seen usages. I have at least seen people saying such sentences. You can reach them out on something. So, what is your understanding? What do you think? See, in its actual usage, yes, you're right, Manoj. It's an inseparable phrasal verb. You can't say reach them out. Okay. If you're using it using the word them, you'll have to say you may reach out to them or you can reach out to them, right? Not reach them out. Reach out is also an inseparable phrasal verb, right? You cannot use a personal pronoun or a noun or any other element for that matter, any other pronoun to go in between the verb reach and the preposition out. It's an inseparable one. So always you say, and you will say, see a speciality in the usage of this one. It's always followed by to. You can say, you say reach out to them, reach out to her, reach out to the organization, right? You cannot skip that to. That's a compulsory element in all the expressions that you, or all the sentences that you make with reach out, right? Which is not the case for other phrasal verbs, right? This is a special one, right? So this is like a gist of some of the phrasal verbs, just to talk to you about the nature of phrasal verbs and its grammar and the way it's used. There is a dictionary of phrasal verbs available like you will have for other things. I would recommend you to maybe just, go past it. Don't try to by heart all of them. For that, you will definitely have to follow English conversations more closely, right? You'll have to watch more of content in English, listen to more of them in English. And if you are somebody who watches series and movies and all regularly, then you will see, right? The conversations that you hear in them, they're all full of phrasal verbs. So if you're somebody who's trying to work on it, then that is the best way. But maybe, you can have a look through this dictionary to get a few more examples and a flavor of it. It's definitely not for learning, but just to get you a little further idea about how many of them do exist, just to give you an idea of how many of them are there in English, right? So many of them. They're so abundantly found that there's a dictionary dedicated to them alone, right? So if you find some time and chance, you can go through them, but please don't make it a practice to learn anything from it. You can just go through it. Learning, please make sure that you do that properly through listening and watching, right? Okay, any questions? If you have understood the concept clearly, then I think we are good to go. And we'll take up phrases and idioms in the next class. We have time, so no issues. Next week, we can talk about it. Anyway, most of these weeks, you will be having lectures on listening and reading and all. So we can take up other topics while that happens. Any questions? Yes, Sachindra, go ahead. Do I have to unmute you or can you unmute yourself? See, I think you're on unmute, but then there's something wrong with your audio. I'm not able to hear you. I'm still not able to hear you. Maybe you can leave your question in the chat. Yeah, sure. No problem. Meanwhile, anyone else who has a question to raise or anything that is doubtful to you at this point?
Hello.
Yes, Sachin.
Ma'am, I have doubt in graded, practice assignment.
Okay. Go ahead.
It is in week 7, ma'am.
Week 7 is what's the content on? Is it listening or reading or something?
Listening, ma'am.
Oh, listening. Okay. I'll try and answer. If there are technical things, then I might have to check back, but please, you can ask your question, no issues.
Uh, Ma'am, fourth question, and it is saying the word content in the audio means. So in the audio, there is no word content.
No, please repeat yourself. I did not really catch the question.
Ma'am, this is with respect to, uh, 1 second, ma'am. Let me
Sure, sure.
mute first. I log in to another device. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, this is with respect to activity question
Ah,
not graded. And
yeah, okay,
question number 4.
right.
It is saying the word content in the audio means. So what does it mean? In that audio, there will be a term called content somewhere, right?
Hmm.
But I
So
listen
this is
this.
this is an audio question. Is there an audio?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. So then I will need context, right? I haven't heard the audio. Uh,
Okay, but
if
the
there's,
this means this
uh,
is related to in that audio.
hmm.
There will be somewhere they must have pronounced the word content, right? Then only.
Probably, yes. That could be the thing. It could be either a comprehension question or it could be an articulation question. Right. As in, maybe they're trying to say something about the way the word content is pronounced, or maybe something related to a comprehensive aspect, something the way, the meaning in which the word has used. But that I cannot comment without seeing the tape script.
So I nowhere find the word content. I
No,
listen
but
twice.
what is the rest of the question? This is the only question. There is no other options or anything with it.
Yes, yes, option is there. The
Ah,
question is the word content in the audio means
ah,
something that is content. Another is
ah.
satisfied, restless, admire.
Sorry, please come again. The first option is
Something that is contained,
ah, something that is content. And then second one.
satisfied, then
Okay.
restless,
Right,
admire.
right. Correct, correct. So this is asking you a comprehension question, right? So the word is somewhere present in that audio, and based on the context that it is used, you have to know its meaning because the word content has different meanings. Content can be an actual content, like, contents of a course, or contentment can also mean satisfaction or joy or all that, right?
But
So based on,
yes, ma'am,
huh,
please go ahead. Ma'am, you are saying
yes, yes.
something.
Yes. So I told you, I was telling you that it depends on what is there in the audio. So if I know the sentence, I can answer.
Okay. And
Yeah. To answer your question, yes, that word is definitely present in the audio, and they're asking you for the meaning of that.
but maybe I listen. I will listen again. But
Hmm.
so far
Sure.
I listened 2 to 3 times, but I could not
Hmm.
find.
You don't
I mean,
have to listen that many times. You just need to figure where that word is and just look at that sentence. That should give you the answer. Sure.
okay, ma'am. And
Right?
fifth one, ma'am.
Huh.
It is where the fill in the
Yeah.
blanks. of
Okay,
long
just a
day.
moment, just a moment. Rest of you, if you do not have any questions to raise, you can leave the meeting. You don't have to stay back because I see the time has been done already. I'm sorry for not having said that before. You may leave if you want. Okay, continue, Sachindra.
Ma'am, the question 5 is, it is where
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
fill in the blanks of the
Hmm.
long day can finally settle.
It is the.
Option, it is where,
Hmm.
it is where the, I mean, fill in the blanks of the
Hmm.
long day can finally settle. So option are
Hmm.
chorus and carols, cows, chows. I could not find any answer. I didn't understand only this question
It is
itself.
where the. It should be. This is from practice assignment.
Yes, ma'am. Activity question.
This must be chores, I think. CHORES, if I'm not wrong. I have heard you, but I'm not sure if it is exactly that. It was where the chores of the day, right? After the blank, what do you have?
Of the long day can finally
Ah,
settle.
yes, right. So it's chores of the long day. Chores means what? Your daily life activities, right? Like cleaning, washing, arranging,
Okay,
all of
ma'am.
those includes chores. Any day-to-day household activities would be considered as chores. It is where the chores of the long day ends.
Okay, ma'am.
That's the answer. CHORES.
Okay, ma'am. And what is the benefit of listening to a story?
Of what?
Listening a story, ma'am.
Listening story. Did you not watch the lecture? Listening us. I don't think it's
I,
about listening a story. It's
I mean,
about how you can use story to learn a language, right? Storytelling as an aspect of language learning.
ma'am, that video was, I mean, prepared by you only.
No, no, no. I am not the
So,
content
ma'am,
creator for that, but I know what it is meant for. It is to make you practice listening.
means you are the
To help
faculty.
you. Did you not watch the lecture? I am not the faculty in the sense the person who has delivered the lecture, right? That is
Yes,
not me for
yes.
sure.
Okay. So I listened yesterday, but I
Huh.
didn't get any. I mean, I didn't get anything from that.
You
That
may have to rewatch. You need to understand. See, each of the lectures will have something called the objectives or outcomes. Maybe you look through the video before, look through that before you watch the video. It's given right below the recorded videos. I mean, not recorded videos, the playlist of the videos, right? Every time you watch a video, there will be the course objectives and outcomes mentioned below each one of them. Maybe if you look at that before you watch the video, you'll understand what the video is made for.
okay, ma'am. So learning objective. Okay, the lecture present various
Yeah,
approaches. Okay. Yes.
right.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Huh.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. That's it, ma'am.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you
ma'am.
so much. We'll see you again. I think most of the people have
Thank you. Thank you.
left now.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Extremely strict.